Cover that down.
Hello, everyone. Welcome. Thanks for being here tonight. I will ask you all to stay on mute so we don't get any background noises. Please, please, please. When we get to watching videos, you may want to turn off your camera so that hopefully streaming comes through a little bit easier and better. We're at 7 o'clock straight up, and I don't want to keep you all night, so I think we'll just roll right in.
Hi everyone.
All right. Can we believe it's here already? Welcome to the 2026 season. We're going to have a series of these meetings. We'll talk about the things that came up last year. I will tell you all right now, from what I know, the NFHS rulebook will not have many changes, some editorial changes, but other than that, not much. Don't expect much from NFHS regarding changes. There will be some case play in the back of the book, but I found out today that it will be a single book, one book, case play in the back of the book. You do not need to put your name in the chat. There will be a quiz link given to you in the chat at the end of this. Please don't write on my screen. There will be a quiz link in the back at the end. I'll put it in the chat. You'll fill out that quiz. That's how you can get credit. I'll share all those results with your local instructional people, and you can, if they allow, get credit for attending this meeting, instructional credit. We're going to talk about screen blocking, contact, and some game timing things today. These were the most talked about things in the off season, things that coaches, schools, and officials brought up with CIF as points of emphasis for the coming season. So we're going to spend a lot of time on it. And over these next months, we're going to keep coming back to it. And it may feel like we're hammering it home, but hopefully we are, because we want to make sure that as officials, especially CFOA officials, we are accurate and correct in our calls when it comes to what is legal and illegal, when it comes to contact and screen blocking. We also want to make sure that we are being good stewards of the game regarding the timing of these games and how the game is played for the girls. So, as we get into it, blocking is defined in Rule 2.3. Everyone should know that, even if you don't know it, that it's in 2.3, you should at least understand that it's in the definitions and blocking is defined. So it's defined as blocking is defined as obstructing an opponent by contacting them with any part of the blocker's body. We then move on to Rule 9.3, where we learn that blocking by any player is illegal unless it is a screen block. When we put the two of those together, if there is contact in the blocking, then it's illegal. Blocking is illegal. Blocking is defined as obstructing an opponent by contacting them. Therefore, if we have contact in our blocking, it's illegal. Okay? Screen blocking is defined as taking a position to obstruct the path of an opponent without contacting the opponent with any part of the blocker's body. So screen blocking is legal, which means screening without contact. If we move back to the back of the book again in Rule 9.3, Article 2, we learn that after assuming a legal position, a screen blocker may move to maintain that legal position by moving in the same direction or path as their opponent. They shall not extend their arms or use their hands. Legs would be included in this as well. I encourage you to pull out your rule books and read these two rules, memorize them, be able to recite them so that when you are on a field and questioned about whether it is a foul or it is not a foul, you can use rule book language to talk to the coaches and or the players and explain to them why it was legal or why it was not. Again, blocking is illegal. That includes contact. Screen blocking is legal. It is without contact. A screen blocker can move to maintain a legal position. That means they had a legal position to begin with, and they can only move in the same direction or path as their opponent. They can't use their arms, their hands, or their legs to obstruct an opponent. Okay? So, when we look at these two pictures, I'm sure many of you saw formations that look similar to this picture on the left of the screen. Some kind of bunch formation, all the players tight in. Usually they like to pull this off when they were close to the goal line. So the screenshot, if we move forward a couple of seconds in this play, has these players that are all tight there together beginning to move downfield and the defense beginning to move upfield. And that's represented in the picture on the right-hand side with all these arrows going in different directions, representing these different players' movements. Okay? So now if we imagine that a ball carrier came in behind these offensive players moving downfield, they are quite obviously not moving in the same direction, nor have they established legal position. So if there were to be contact with the defense, it would be illegal. Again, they haven't established legal position. They're not moving in the same direction as their opponent to maintain their legal position. So if this becomes a block or if they are in the path obstructing a defense from getting to the ball carrier, they're a blocker, right? If they're in between the ball carrier and the defender, they're a blocker. If there's contact, it's illegal blocking. If they do not follow the rules of moving in the same direction as the opponent or the same path as the opponent and maintain a legal position, then it is illegal, and there's contact, then it is illegal blocking. Okay. Now, there are different player designations, right? We call players different things given their role on the field, right? So we have receivers, blockers, runners or ball carriers, and passers, as well as defensive players. But on the offensive side, right? Receivers are afforded protections under Rule 923. A defensive player shall not initiate contact with an opponent. This is illegal use of hands, right? So that's essentially what we call allowing the receivers free release off the line of scrimmage. They get the freedom to run their route, their receiving route, unimpeded, as long as it's a receiving route and they're not a blocker. Because a blocker is any player who is blocking or is in position to block by being between a potential flag puller and the runner. So we as officials have to determine, is that player a receiver or are they a blocker? And we do that by taking these two different definitions, right? A blocker is a player who's blocking or is in position to block because they are between the defense who could pull a flag and the runner who's carrying the ball, right? The runner or the ball carrier is the person who is in possession of a live ball or anyone who is simulating possession. And a passer is a player who throws a legal forward pass. Why do we cover these and why do we talk about these? Because it matters when we go back to this slide and we start talking about what do each of these players, what's their role, right? When they're just standing there prior to the snap, we can make an assumption that their role is going to be receiver, which means the defense is required to avoid contact, right? In the second picture on the right-hand side, we start to see it develop that the player toward the big line, toward the back, and the big line becomes a blocker quite obviously. It looks and appears as though she's taking a step backwards, which means she's moving in the same direction as her opponent to maintain a legal blocking position. All of these other players wearing white, these receivers, start moving forward downfield as though they're running receiving routes. So at this moment in time, I could assume that their receivers in the defense are the ones responsible to avoid contact. If we all of a sudden have a ball carrier come in behind all of these white players moving downfield, they are no longer receivers. They are now in the path of between, they are now in between the defense and the ball carrier. That makes them a blocker by definition, right? A blocker is a player who's blocking or is in position to block by being between a potential flag puller and the runner. When we begin to understand these different things, we can better understand how we are going to rule on fouls in situations that look like this or start like this. We can put our little antennas up when we see something start to develop where all of a sudden I have a white player in between a blue player and the ball carrier. That person could potentially become a blocker. And if I have contact, I probably have an illegal blocking foul. Okay?
When you have a bunch like that, so you could have like multiple numbers, you just pick one.
We're going to watch a couple videos, Jess. You ready?
Yeah. I hate
Excellent.
this play, by the way. I hate
I
it.
know. So here's the thing about this play. Thanks for bringing that up, Jess, right? So when we see this formation, there's going to be contact. And in the video that a couple of the videos that I'm going to show you, right? Especially if these are goal line plays. Imagine we're at the goal line and all of these blue players were 1 or 2 yards off the goal line. And all of these blue players, the ball's 2 yards off the goal line. The blue players all have their toes on the goal line. We're going to have contact and our antennas start to go up and we're like, oh crap, something really funky is going to happen here. The moment I see a white player moving forward and there is contact and a ball carrier behind them, I have a flag automatically. And as officials, especially with CFOA, when we start calling that consistently, the teams will stop running that play. They just will because they're going to begin to understand that they're going to get flagged on it every single time. But until we flag them on it, they're going to continue to run it. So it's going to be consistency in officiating that will stop this play from happening. And I'm begging all of you inside of CFOA to be consistent in calling this. Okay? All
Right.
right.
Because then the runner runs at it with the ball extended and
Yep.
the contact, the ball, everything happens at the same time. Bang, bang, bang. And they're like, oh no, I scored before anybody moved. I'm not that good. I like seriously, like, no, I don't like it.
Okay.
MaryAnn, quick question.
Yeah, yeah. Who is this?
Was Aaron with OCFOA.
Hi,
Um,
Aaron.
Hi. Just you might touch base this later. I'd rather talk about it now. Was there any talk, or has there been talks yet about adapting the USA flag rules of no run zones within, like,
Nope.
right behind
It's not going to
midfield?
happen.
Okay.
It's not going to happen. The rule book will remain the same. We will continue to see what we have seen over the last few years, where there's two different styles of flag football. One with a 7 yard rush and zero contact, and one with a 1 yard neutral zone and screening. And I encourage you all to call it screening. I know that the rule book says screen blocking, but when we develop language like screening is legal and blocking is illegal, we can start to differentiate in our brains what those are and how those are different. Okay? Okay. So this field's not very well marked. It was a side field. This was a tournament. Um, but I'm going to let this play through and just watch. It's not a great angle either, but I believe you're going to see what you need to see as we let this play through. Okay. So if we go back, we're going to pause right here, and I'm going to let you guys in on a little secret. So our rule book says that the person receiving the snap must be 2 yards off the line of scrimmage. In CIF, all of California, we had a allowance that said, as long as they're attempting to be 2 yards off and as long as they're not doing things like this, we're going to allow it. Well, what happened was they just kept doing things like this and we didn't flag it. So,
Hmm?
in the coming season, there will be zero allowance. The person receiving the snap of the ball must be 2 yards off the line of scrimmage, no matter what.
May
So
I ask a
just,
question about that?
yeah,
So In previous talks and in previous years, one of the things that we talked about is that the 2 yards may be relative to the size of the quarterback. And that's kind of how people were
Yep.
calling it. Are we going to continue to do it that way and just
Nope,
adjust?
we're
No.
not.
Okay.
We're not. Because
Got
if we don't hold the standard of 2 yards, then they're going to cry and do this and do that and do whatever. The entire state will no longer just make allowances for things like that. That was an allowance that the state was making because we felt we didn't want to disadvantage smaller players, just like you said. However, what it led to was a whole bunch of stuff like this that we don't want to see in our game. So 2 yards off the line of scrimmage, no exceptions.
So Cheryl,
Okay.
Mike Vale here from Channel Coast. So we're eliminating this coming season. We're eliminating hand-to-hand exchanges from the center to the quarterback or to any player.
Yeah, essentially. Yes, Mike. The person receiving the snap must be 2 yards off the line of scrimmage, which basically means they can't take a hand-to-hand snap.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Is that a live ball or dead ball foul? Do we blow it dead right away?
You know what? I will have to look that up. It is in the rule book what
That'd
it
have to-
is. So
That'd have to be a legal formation then, MaryAnn, so it'd be a dead ball, right?
Or it's an illegal snap.
Yeah, one of the two.
It's
Can't let that play go, period.
I believe it's illegal formation, but I believe we're going to kill it. So expect that information to be disseminated to you all later after I have a chance to look at it. Okay, so that's where we're going to start with this. Now let's go back to the video.
MaryAnn, can I
Quick
ask one last
question.
thing to nail that down? This is Joel. How you doing?
Good.
If the ball is on a big line and the person snapping could most likely is going to be pretty close to the yard behind the ball. If she brings it up through her legs, that'll put her at 1. And if a person's feet are 1 yard behind that person, they could reach forward and you could have an exchange. Or are we going by feet? Or are we going by touch to the ball? What's exactly the parameter there?
This player is quite obviously not Joel.
Yeah, she's got her foot underneath she's
right.
breaking, yeah.
So if I have a flag player that's 6 feet tall and can lean forward and take that ball out of the center's hands, okay.
Yeah.
But the likelihood of that happening is minuscule. We're talking about a unicorn here, right?
Mm-hmm.
So make those players be 2 yards off the line of scrimmage. Essentially, that means feet. But if I'm even 6 feet tall and my feet are a yard behind my center because my center is occupying a yard of space, my feet are a yard behind my center, I got to lean forward pretty hard to be able to touch them on the butt. So it's not going to be that hard to see, you guys. We're going to know it when you see it. But the person receiving the snap must be 2 yards off the line of scrimmage. I'm 99% sure that it's an illegal formation foul, but I'm also fairly certain that we're going to kill it. But I'm going to get back to you all on that because I don't know. So 2 yards. Just, you guys don't read too much into it. I don't want to have a long discussion about this. It's 2 yards.
2 yards.
Make it be 2 yards.
It's about safety, MaryAnn, I believe.
Yeah. Anyway, we're moving on. Here we go. So the player to the left, both players to the left of the snapper, watch them move forward and cause contact. There's some right there. There's some more right there. And as that happens, you're watching that ball carrier come in right behind them. That's a whole bunch of contact.
So last year we didn't have good information. It sounds clear that now you just want a flag coming out the second that they initiate the contact. Is that correct?
This is a foul. This is a foul, you all, right? As soon as that player on the left-hand side steps forward and initiates that contact, and they are in between a ball carrier and the defense, and they cause contact, that's a foul, period. End of story. We don't have to break it down any more than that. That's a foul. throw your flag. There could have been probably 3 fouls just on this play. When you see it through even more clearly, the ball carrier comes in and actually pushes a defensive player out of the way. And we're going to show a clip of that later as well. But this is a foul. Whose foul call is this? We have our field judge on the pylon on the far side. We have our referee behind. And we have our line of scrimmage official over here out of screen. Whose foul call is this?
The Obama video,
Line judge?
Line of scrimmage judge.
Yep.
Judge.
Line of scrimmage official needs to be calling this.
Yes.
Okay. In this particular game, the back pylon needed to be covered. We're also at the goal line. Line of scrimmage official has a lot of responsibilities here. They have a responsibility to flag this contact. They have a responsibility to cover the goal line. They have a lot of responsibilities here. So line of scrimmage official, flag out quick, drop it on the ground. You don't have to chuck it very far. Just get it out and then get to the freaking goal line. Okay?
Well, and for 2026, MaryAnn, wouldn't you whistle it before the play even
No, it's a
developed?
live ball
No,
foul.
this is a live ball foul.
Oh, gosh.
An illegal formation is also a live ball foul. So if the person receiving the snap is not 2 yards off the line of scrimmage, I believe that is going to be an illegal formation, and that as well is going to be a live ball foul. So on this particular play, when we watch it all the way through, we probably have 3 live ball fouls, including one on the ball carrier. Okay? All right. Imagine that I would have a plethora of examples because of how many times we saw this. Okay? We'll watch it through from the beginning again. Are you picking up where the foul is? So again, we talked about player designations. At this point, they're all receivers. We can kind of assume that, right? They're afforded protections. We move forward in the play. We move forward in the play. We move forward in the play. Oh, look, now we have a ball carrier coming in behind them. And we have some white players getting pretty freaking close to some red players, right? Ball carrier coming in behind, ball carrier coming in behind. And, oh, look, there's some contact between white and red. That is illegal blocking. They are obstructing the path of the defense trying to get to the ball carrier, and they initiated contact because they were moving in the same direction. They were not moving in the same direction as their opponent. Let me say that again. That is illegal blocking. We have contact. We have a blocker who is not moving in the same direction or path as their opponent and initiated contact.
MaryAnn, question on that. That quarterback was still behind the line of scrimmage and still can be a passer when that contact goes down because she can pass it.
It doesn't matter. They are still between. She's not a passer right now. She's not a passer until she throws a legal forward pass. She is a ball carrier. And they are obstructing. They are moving not in the same direction as their opponent. There's a ball carrier between the opponent. They are taking a position between a ball carrier and their opponent, and it is not a legal position. That's illegal blocking. If that blocker is taking a position between a ball carrier, even if that ball carrier, quote, could become a passer. No, that doesn't, you can't say that they could be a passer. Right now, she's a ball carrier. At this moment in time, she's a ball carrier. And you are caught initiating contact, offense is initiating contact without having legal position in between the defense and the ball carrier. That is 100% a foul every time. Okay? Now, we saw this play, so we know, right? And I get you, Mike. I understand what you're saying, that she could still be a passer. Well, she's not. And she's not a passer until she's a passer. Right now, she's a ball carrier. And that's an illegal block. Period. End of story.
So the question for you is, if you did pass that ball behind the line of scrimmage and contact already occurred,
I still have a flag.
okay.
I still have a flag. We are still calling that an illegal block because they and the offensive player initiated the contact, preventing the defense from getting, please don't draw on my screen, preventing them from getting to where they needed to get to, getting to the ball carrier. Okay?
But whether she's going to pass or run, the offensive players cannot go down and make contact.
No, we can't have contact, period. So who's responsible to have avoided causing that contact? Well, in this instance, the offense was, because they did not have a legal position. And if you don't have a legal position and you initiate contact, that's illegal blocking.
So MaryAnn, on that play, 2 red makes like a guarding motion as the white player comes into her space. I'm listening to you. I'm thinking I disregard that because it's the A player that's causing the instinctive guarding action, almost like a swim move as she's trying to move towards the ball carrier. Is that correct?
Yeah, I've moved on, so I'm not, I don't have that one up anymore.
Okay.
Sorry.
That's fine.
We're gonna go on. We're gonna move on.
Appreciate
This is going to be recorded. It will be on YouTube. You guys can go back and watch it again. Okay. Next. One more. So we are here. We are within, I think, a yard or two. 2 yards from the line to gain. 2 yards from the 20. Okay. We have everybody coming in this bunch formation again. Bunch formation again. Ooh. And immediately, the person receiving the snap moves forward as a runner, as a ball carrier. We have contact right here on this left-hand side by a person moving who is not moving in the same direction as their opponent. And they are definitely obstructing the path of the defense to get to the ball carrier. That is illegal blocking all day. That's a flag.
Is it irrelevant that the defensive player is throwing her hands up and right there?
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay.
She's trying to protect herself. The
Well, the
person who
offensive
does,
player's hands are down, and the
Yeah.
defensive player's got thrown an elbow up.
well, I think she's throwing an elbow up to protect herself because she's got a girl coming at her.
I
And
agree.
she's trying
We're
to
making
get
too much
around
of
that player who does not have legal position.
All
The
right.
offense does not have legal position. It is their foul.
Thank you.
Period.
Yep. Same to the question I just asked. So you just answered what I asked. Thank you.
The offense does not have legal position.
When does the defensive player be guilty of obstruction, the blocker?
Well, let's look at that. This one's from the championship game.
Second half of play. Cook, plenty of time. He finally slings it Over and almost threw another interception. Second half of play. Cook.
Steer pushing off.
And finally slings it over and almost threw another interception.
So this action, this blocker has legal position.
Right.
100% legal position.
Right.
And she is one strong cookie to be able to hold off that push, right?
Mm-hmm.
If that were me, I'd be on my butt right now, right? And the reason this didn't get called as a foul is because she is so strong and so capable of maintaining her legal position. This is a foul on the defense. Illegal use of hands. That is a foul on the defense. That's when it becomes a defensive foul.
Yeah.
When the screen blocker has and maintains legal position and the defense is responsible for this contact. The screen blocker is not responsible for that contact. She's in position. She 100% maintains legal position. The defense is responsible for this contact. That's a foul on the defense.
MaryAnn, I have a question.
Yes. Who's this?
This is Patrick Kellaway. So if on that same move right there, if we have the defensive player coming in and say they make like a little jab move inside and as they're swimming, they make contact with the defensive player on the way out towards the quarterback. We would, I mean, it's not incidental, but it's not like a forward press. How tight are we, I guess, on the contact itself? If there's any contact there, or
we want you, so Patrick, we want you to use impactful. Is the contact impactful? Do they throw the player off of their line? Do they throw the player off balance? Do they throw impactful contact? If I brush your shoulder and I don't impact your ability to get somewhere else or move your balance or shift your abilities, then no. Did the contact impact the player's abilities in that moment?
Okay.
Right? We want flags on every single thing that causes we could call impactful contact. Okay? Many of you know, because you've listened to me a lot, I don't like the word incidental contact. I think that it's lazy, right? I think that I hear officials use it as a get out of jail free card. Oh, coach, that was incidental. Oh, coach, that was incidental. That's why it bothers me. Not because we can't or don't have incidental contact, because we can and we do have incidental contact. Just please, I'm begging you, don't be the lazy official that uses it as your get out of jail free card to not have a foul, right? Those videos that we've shown, they are quite obviously not incidental contact. It's incidental if someone could not have avoided it. In all of these instances that we've shown, someone could have avoided the contact and someone was responsible to have avoided the contact. And as officials, when we break it down in our brain like that, who was responsible to have avoided that contact? Could they have avoided that contact? When we can answer those questions, then we know whether we have a foul or we don't have a foul. Then we can start to talk about, was the contact actually impactful on the player or the play? Okay. All right. Give me just a second. Let's talk about illegal personal contact, or let's go back to our slides for just a minute, you guys, because I have a couple more things that I want to share with you. Okay, so let's dive a little deeper into contact. and illegal use of hands. So I don't know how deeply you all looked at our penalty charts that are in the back of the book. It's on page 60 and 61 in your book. A breakdown of your 5-yard penalties, your 10-yard penalties, and then your penalties that have disqualification associated with them, right? Inside of those penalty charts, and as you read through this book, there really isn't a foul that's called illegal contact. There just isn't. There is in 9(4), Rule 9, Section 4, illegal personal contact. For those who are familiar with the tackle game, these would be what we would consider personal fouls, i.e. 15-yard penalty, personal fouls. Okay? Illegal personal contact. And in illegal personal contact, we have things like charging into a player, tripping, swinging your foot or your knee at an opponent, fighting. Those kinds of things are in illegal personal contact. But when it comes to just the concept of contact, it's really only talked about when it comes into blocking and then how players are supposed to control their bodies when we're doing other things like OPIs, DPIs, those kinds of things. So all of our quote contact fouls really are listed under illegal use of hands. That's where, and then blocking, right? What positions legal blockers can maintain. That's where the word contact comes up more often than not. But we don't have a foul inside this NFHS rulebook that is just illegal contact. We have illegal personal contact, which again are those bigger ones, right? Bigger type fouls, personal fouls. But we have this list of fouls where contact could happen. Forward pass interference, illegal blocking, holding, illegal use of hands or arms, charging into an opponent, or roughing the passer. All of these are fouls that would contain contact. I'm talking to you guys about this partially because you might see this later on a quiz that you might be taking to get credit for this, but also as well because it's important that when we're calling the game, we're not just throwing a flag because there was contact and we just know we need to have a foul. We need to know why it was a foul, and we need to understand which one of these other kind of contact related penalties we are going to be using, or did the contact rise to the level of a quote personal foul where I'm going to use illegal personal contact and actually get into 9(4) and call a personal foul on that player. Okay. So in 9(2), we read an offensive player shall not grasp and circle any teammate to form interlocking blocking. They may not use hands, arms, legs to lock, hook, clamp, encircle, or hold in an effort to restrain an opponent. In 922, we read that the runner shall not extend hands or arms to ward off an opponent. This is flag guarding and or stiff arming, those kinds of things. In 923, we read a defensive player shall not initiate contact with an opponent. This is that protection on receivers running routes down the field. This would be the foul that we're using if we're going to call a defensive foul for quote holding or something like that because the defense interrupted or affected the route of the receiver. They cannot use their hands, arms to lock, clamp, grasp, encircle, and hold in an effort to restrain an opponent. These restrictions apply regardless of the game situation or the ball location. Okay? But we also know that the offense is responsible to avoid contact, especially the ball carrier, right? The ball carrier can't just be running through players. And I want to show you guys a couple of clips because this was something that we missed. And I think that ball carriers on some level were given not carte blanche, but we didn't hold them accountable for avoiding the defense as well as we could have this past season. And we're going to essentially, the only foul that we have to put that under is in 9-4, illegal personal contact, charging into an opponent. Okay. So it would be a personal foul. That ball carrier has some responsibility to not initiate contact either. Right? All right. So this clip is actually from some work I did this past weekend. So as you watch it this next time, I want you to think in your head, does the defender have legal position? Does the ball carrier have opportunity to avoid the defender? And do they just choose not to? I'll tell you live and in person that contact looked a heck of a lot worse than it does on this video. But if we kind of go through a little bit slower, frame by frame by frame, right? The defense has a pretty good legal position. I want you to notice the defender's position. She's breaking down, right? She's taking a position to go for the flags. Her hands are low, her knees are bent. She's essentially stationary on the field. And the ball carrier continues to charge right at her versus take a cut somewhere, move out of bounds, do something else. And she just keeps charging her down. Okay. We could have a discussion for hours about whether at live speed, this is a foul or not a foul. This was just one of the best examples that I've found recently to have a conversation about this particular action by a ball carrier. In my opinion, this could have, or perhaps should have been a flag for illegal personal contact on that ball carrier. The defense had good legal position. And the offense, I believe, had opportunity to change direction, move out of bounds, cut back inside, do something to avoid that contact with the defender. And the defender had legal position. If that defender has legal position and that offensive player just runs right through them or pushes them downfield, that's illegal personal contact on the ball carrier. Does that make sense to everybody?
Yes.
Excellent. Give me just a second. Oh, come
MaryAnn?
on. Yeah.
Oh, it's
There it
Art. I
is.
have a question regarding these illegal personal contact fouls.
Yeah.
Looking at the rule book, it just doesn't seem kind of fair, but if it's on the offense, they get the 10-yard penalty, which I understand. But if the defense causes it, the way I'm reading this, like say the penalties, then the offense is awarded an automatic first down.
Mm-hmm.
So that is correct.
Yes, they are.
Okay.
So if we're calling it on the offense, so if we're calling illegal personal contact on that ball carrier for charging into that defender, right, that doesn't include a first down. I would consider the fact, Art, that if I'm going to throw an illegal personal contact foul on the defense, it was pretty egregious contact. And that would be why it would include a first down.
Perfect.
Okay.
Yeah, because I know a lot. Yeah, a
As
lot
a
of
defensive foul, so we have a lot of other fouls that we can use that we can call on the defense, right? We can call holding on the defense. In illegal use of hands, there are a lot of restrictions placed on the defense, but not as many placed on the offense. So as a defensive foul, if it's, perhaps it says directly under illegal use of hands, so 923, a defensive player shall not initiate contact with an opponent. So I have a 10-yard penalty that I can use on the defense. I don't have to use illegal personal contact. If I think it's egregious contact on the defense, then 100% I'm going to say illegal personal contact, and I'm going to give the offense an automatic first down. Okay. I'm not 100% sure how good this next one's going to come through, but we'll find out. Can everybody see that?
Yes.
I know you're all wondering what the heck happened, so we'll play it again.
Oh no.
So the ball carrier, in an effort to get the first down, right,
Yeah.
extends the ball forward, which they're allowed to do. The defensive player, in my opinion, has a legal position,
Yes.
and the ball carrier punches him in the face with the ball
And runs over.
and runs over her. That's a foul on the offense. That's an illegal personal contact foul. That's charging at an opponent. Does anyone disagree with me?
No.
No.
Okay. So whether or not that ball's extended or not really kind of doesn't matter, right? She could be holding the ball at her side and just run right through this player, and we should still have a foul. This video was sent to me by that official on the far sideline saying, "Hey, MaryAnn, this looked really weird at the time, and I'm just wondering what you think. And I think this is a foul, and I think we better have a flag on this." Okay? We can see that our far sideline official could be blocked, perhaps, from seeing the actual contact. So I would hope, since we're at 4th and short, it looks like, our field judge is actually playing up a little bit tighter on this other sideline and can see this contact. Right? This is why we have 3 officials on the field, because someone's got to pick that up, someone's got to see that, someone's got to call that. All right. You all have been great, and I had more things that I was going to show you and talk to you about, but I think that that's probably enough for tonight. Let's take just a minute while I am getting the quiz in the chat to see if anybody has any more questions regarding what we've talked about tonight.
Joanne, in reference to that last play, could that also have been malicious contact by putting the ball in her face?
Yeah, it could have. I don't think it was. I think she really was just extending the ball to get to the first down. I don't think that she was I don't think it was purposeful. I think she truly was just extending the ball to get the first down. But we have to put some we have to put some ownership on the ball carrier to know where they are in space and control their body. They can't just willy-nilly do whatever they want and we let them get away with it because they have the ball. right? They have responsibilities as well. They have responsibilities to not charge into players. They have responsibilities to not initiate contact. And we have to throw those flags.
MaryAnn, it's Matt. Hey,
Yes.
a couple just wanted to confirm on that live ball, dead ball, but that says the flag's being pulled, so we're gonna go live ball with that, right?
On the one we just looked at with where she gets punched in the face.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a live ball foul.
Yeah. And then another one, and I think you're gonna go over this, but I think you kind of answered it. He was talking about like you're talking about flag being pulled like with the runner, they have to control their body. He's talking to somebody asked about spinning and making forceful contact with the player. So I just wanted to see what you thought about that. I think you might go over that later on in another meeting, but he wanted that answered.
Yeah, like I said at the beginning, you guys, we're going to spend a heck of a lot of time over these next months talking about contact, talking about screen blocking, showing you as many videos as we possibly can so that you all have the best and biggest amount of information in your arsenal moving forward to be able to work with. So I believe that it will be covered in future meetings and we'll get there. If not, you guys, I encourage you get inside your rule book, right?
MaryAnn?
Yes, Art.
Question. NFHS released or had a press release today about several changes to the rules, and I just was wondering if California was going to adapt those changes.
You know, I haven't seen that press release. I haven't had a chance to speak with Brian Seymour about any of these things. So what I'm teaching from right now is still the 2025-26 flag football rule book. And I'm sure that the state offices and the state rules interpreter will put out information as necessary. I will tell you up front, we use the NFHS rulebook. So what the NFHS rulebook says is what we use.
Yeah, because last year, yeah, because the rule book does, or the current one does mention kickoffs, I believe, if I remember correctly. But
right, but that's still by state adoption.
Right. No, exactly. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
This, and one of the changes is they're going to introduce an onside kick situation.
Yes, we will most likely adopt that. Yep. We like it. We like onside kick options, and it's not a kick, Art, just so you know. They don't kick the ball.
And the extra timeout also?
To be determined, I would imagine.
Okay, so then instead of 2 timeouts, we'll do 3 timeouts plus the 2-minute warning thing.
MaryAnn, can I ask a question?
Yeah. Hold on 1 second. Let me. Okay, it's in there, you guys. The link to the quiz is in the chat. I want to just reiterate. Well, first off, I want to thank you all for being here tonight. I hope that this was helpful. I hope you found some benefit in this, and I will share all of the information that is gathered inside of that quiz with all of your instructional people inside of your units so that if they offer you hours of training credit for attending these meetings, that you will be able to get it. So go ahead and click on that link and fill that out. And then one more person had one more question.
Yes, thanks, MaryAnn. And MaryAnn, it had to do with contact, and I encountered this incident a couple of times last year in really high competitive games where the girls are very athletic, very fast, very competitive. Had a situation where a runner has the ball and a defender is rapidly approaching to grab the flag. The runner makes a football move, and then there's a very nasty collision. Both players go down, coaches start losing their minds, and we ended up not calling it because there was no like intentional or opportunity to avoid, but I'd kind of like some guidance on that in the future.
So could you, without a doubt, say no one, neither player could have avoided being in the place that they ended up?
Yeah, I would say the defender is coming in and is barreling towards, and hands are out trying to reach for the flag, and the runner is trying to make a football move and they end up just having this horrible collision. And when that happens, the stands are up, the coaches lose their minds, and we didn't call it, which was
Right.
not
So
very.
this sounds like a situation where someone was responsible to have avoided contact, right?
Well, and we talked about it, but we didn't call it because we didn't see it that way because it was
Okay.
a very quick. So I don't know.
So I had a situation. I had a receiver turn to catch a pass. As she turned to catch the pass, the defender stepped right in front of her. She caught the pass, and as she turned around, they were face to face and heads collided.
Right.
Okay. Neither one of those players could have avoided that contact. I don't know who I throw the foul on. Who do I throw the flag on? If I have a ball carrier barreling forward and changing directions quickly, cutting, doing whatever, and I have a defender coming in hard to get a flag, someone has got to avoid contacting someone.
Right.
Who
Okay.
caused the contact? Who was
Right.
responsible to have avoided the contact?
Right.
Both players have a responsibility to be in control of their bodies.
Right.
Both players have a responsibility to know where their opponents are, at least to some extent, and not just be throwing themselves all over the place, right? This is a skilled sport.
Right.
Skill. And we have to officiate it as it's a skilled sport, which means one of those players needs to develop a little bit more skill about how they're controlling their body and how they're moving down the field. I don't know, without having seen it, I can't tell you who the foul should have been on, but unless you can tell me with 100% certainty, no one could have avoided that contact, we got to have a foul on somebody.
All right.
Pick
Well,
pick
MaryAnn,
one.
MaryAnn, I got a
Yes,
question
Debbie.
on that. I'm sorry, this is DeKuzlian. Got a question on that. The defender should have been able to anticipate that she's going to turn into her.
Perhaps. Or perhaps how many of you guys have seen this where the defender's just standing perfectly upright and their hands are like at their shoulders? Remember on the one play when I spoke about how the defender was breaking down? She had her knees bent, she was in an athletic stance, her hands were low at the hip level, and she was ready to go for a flag. We call that breaking down. Did the defender break down and get herself in a position to pull a flag without initiating contact? If they don't, then perhaps it's a foul on the defense. If they do, and the offense runs them over, as they did in that video, then we have a foul on the offense. Even if the offensive player perhaps plants a foot and takes a turn or a cut, they have a responsibility to not cut into or turn into the defender unless there was absolutely no way they knew they were there, which is you can't hardly believe, because the only reason they're going to be turning or twisting or taking a cut is if they're trying to avoid a defender. So I make sure you guys are breaking it down in your brains, slowing things down a little bit, and understand concepts like defense needs to break down and get into a legal position. Offense needs to be aware of where the defenders are, and offense has a responsibility to avoid contact. When we start looking at these plays in those kinds of frameworks, then seeing those fouls should become easier, I hope. Does that help, Debbie?
No, I get it. Again, I'm doing lower level, less experienced teams. And
Yes.
some of them are just quite frankly clueless, but somewhere I personally draw a line and said, you should have known.
Yep.
Thank you.
Should have known. Awesome. And they will know. They learn by officials say this all the time, but players learn quickly when we throw flags. Right? Regarding those bunch formations and calling that contact, as soon as those flags start coming out, guess what? That coach stops calling that play. I saw it happen 100 times. In fact, I heard coaches from the sideline say, "Oh, I guess they're calling that today." And in my brain, I went, "Oh, crap. That means other officials haven't been calling it." And that's where we have a problem. And that's what I'm encouraging. And that's why I'm grateful you all are here tonight, because the more this gets out and the better we get at calling these, and when we are consistent about calling those fouls, then we don't hear coaches from the sideline saying, "Oh, I guess they're calling that today." We should never hear that from a sideline. Consistency in our calls. That's what we're looking for this season. When we are consistent in our calls, the teams and the players will adjust. They will learn quickly what they can and cannot do. Coaches will begin coaching the girls. "Hey, you can't do that." I saw it in a college game a week and a half ago, and regarding blocking. And we were trying to explain to the blocker why every time it was illegal screen blocking, because she kept sticking her elbow out. She's like, "What do you mean? I'm doing what? I'm doing what? You're doing this. Sticking your elbow out." You guys can't see me. I have my camera off. Sorry. "You're doing this every time." And impeding the progress of the rusher trying to get to the quarterback. This chicken wing thing, that's illegal. And she just didn't understand it until the coach pulled her off to the sideline and told her to do it. Guess what? She came back in the game next series, not a problem. Not one flag. We'd had 3 flags on her already in that game and not one more flag. They learn, but they're only going to learn if we penalize them. Okay? Thank you all very much. Everyone got the